Welcome to another session of Teams in 20. Today, we're going to be talking about driving adoption and change management of M365 Copilot. I'm going to take you through a little bit about what is change management, what do we mean by adoption. I'm going to give you some example activities to get you started, and we're going to take a look at some awesome resources. Now, if you haven't met me before, my name is Jo Johnstone. I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager here at Microsoft. So today, as I said, we're going to be focusing on M365 adoption. And I know we've covered this before. If you haven't seen the sessions that I've done before, there's one on YouTube. But we're going to be talking about why it takes a little bit more effort with Copilot to really push that adoption. And really it all comes down to the development of new habits and behaviors that is needed, and the fact that it's an absolutely new way of working, one that we've never been comfortable with before. So what do we mean by adoption? There'll be people listening to this that have not had any engagement with adoption and change practices before. Well, imagine you've got a new app on your phone and you just don't know how to use it. Somebody recommended it to you. You've gone in and had a look at it. You don't get it. That's kind of how I felt about TikTok. And it's kind of frustrating. You know, I really want to get used to it. People tell me it's great, but I just don't know how to get started. So it's really not that much fun. But if your friend comes along and that friend shows you the ropes, you'll be up and running in no time. And that's what we mean as well by adoption. We want to get everybody on board, having fun, up to speed as quickly as possible. When we think about change management is just really the strategy that drives that adoption. So it's the strategy guide for how people are going to use the app. We want to make sure everybody knows the rules. We want to make sure everybody's trained. We want to make sure everybody knows why they want to use it, why they might not want to use it. And we want to get people started. So with that structure in place, with the change management plan in place, that's going to set us up for success. Now, why is change management important? Well, after using Copilot for a while, I can tell you it definitely does require a change of habits. I've had to create new habits. And it reminds me a little bit of when we first started to move our conversations from the 20-plus-year-old app of Outlook, and we moved those conversations, or some of those conversations, into Teams. And we had to create new habits and behaviors to use Teams and to remember to use Teams instead of always just using email. But sadly, as we know, when we deploy Teams, you can't just put the app on the desktop and hope people adopt it. It does not mean that you are going to be an expert just because you have it. In the same way, you give me a gym membership, sadly, that does not make me an Olympic sprinter anytime soon. So when I think about Copilot, and I think about how I've had to go through this change curve, the biggest change for me has been the way I search, because I'm used to searching the internet for keywords. And now I'm moving into a more conversational type of engagement. And it's like having my own personal assistant that I can delegate tasks to. Now, some of the key levers for successful adoption and return on investment at Copilot are a typical ACM plan. And if you are familiar with ACM, adoption change management, you'll know the first rule of adoption change is repetition. So hopefully, even if you've heard this before, this is still useful. Thinking about all the things that make up a good recipe for change: exec sponsorship, making sure you've got a visible, active leader who is going to be the face of the program. Communications. Tell them what Copilot is, tell them what it's not, tell them about the benefits, tell them what they need to do to prepare. Champions. Champions are the real drivers of change. They're the go-to people in your team. They're the people that have access to the workforce and are really going to help you drive this change at scale within your organization. Scenarios. Not focusing on the tool, but the focusing on the capabilities, how it weaves into your daily activities is important. Don't say, you've now got Copilot in Teams chat. Tell me why I would want to use it for my role, for my team. And then we think about training and resources. How are people learning about Copilot? The people like to learn different ways. So self-serve options is the Microsoft sites that you can use, workshops that you can deliver, demos that you can share. Can you call on your champions to deliver one-to-one support? Highlighting some of the prompts they've maybe used. Now, everybody likes to learn in different ways, so you need a plan to manage that. Let me think about resistance management. Identify and mitigate potential blockers, whether that's people, skills, time, or something else. There will always be resistance. People don't like change. Nobody likes change. So you can go on that change curve and you could be really excited about the change, and then you try it and it's too hard, and you go back down that curve and you're back to the beginning. So once people have made a decision to change, we need to champion them and keep them moving over that change curve until they've created these new habits. Don't forget, you want to know if you've been successful, to decide what success looks like for you right at the very beginning of this project, and make sure you monitor it. And then pat yourself on the back, celebrate those successes, no matter how small or large they are. Give yourself a pat on the back. Make sure you champion those people that have made you successful in the organization. Now, the good news is there are many methodologies out there for change management to keep you on track. In Microsoft, we use ProSign methodology, just breaks it down to 5 easy blocks that we can follow. Today, I'm going to focus on some and the activities in each of these blocks. I've also created a couple of ideas that I'm going to share with you, just little videos that are in this deck if you want to go and have a look. These are ideas for people that are right at the very beginning. They're at that awareness step, and maybe they actually don't have a Copilot license or M365 Copilot license. So there are lots and lots of great tools out there now that you can use, lots of great kits. So the customer success kit has got some enablement guides. It's got some tech readiness information in there. It's got information on how you can build that champions network, how you can recruit that exec sponsor. It's also got great things like email templates, posters, top tips, and links to those training materials. So lots of great stuff that we've already created for you to try and make this as easy as possible. We've also got a learning path that you can follow. So the MS 4007, discover how to drive enablement of Copilot, apparently takes a day to do. So go and have a look at that. Something to pop onto your LinkedIn there as well. Now, I said about the couple of ideas just to get people excited before they've even got an M365 license. You could use your communities, if you've got Viva Engage, that's fantastic. Use your communities to get people thinking about prompts and how they're going to be able to, get new scenarios or new ideas of how they're going to use M365 in their area. One of the fun ways of getting people to start thinking about how they're going to converse with AI is to do things like, let's show me an AI picture of your dog. Now, I'm not going to go into this because it takes too long, but I'm going to share it in part of the video and in the slide deck. But some things we've done is we've created AI pictures of our dogs, and I've got a bit of a step through video here that'll take you through how you do that, and then just shared them in our community page. Just a bit of fun for everybody to get involved in. And then Microsoft Designer. I'm a massive fan of Designer. If you've joined any of our sessions before, you'll know this. We've done a session on Designer as well. It's on the YouTube channel. But just using Designer to have a look at what a good prompt looks like, being able to iterate on the prompts that you've already created to get the amazing images, some that you see here, whether that's for work or it's personal. It's a great fun way to start thinking about how to prompt, especially if you haven't got those M365 licenses yet. Okay, so once colleagues have the M365 licenses, how are you going to influence them to spend their valuable time on learning a new way of working? Now, a great place to start is to think about personas. Think about how each person in their role within the organization might use Copilot and start building up scenarios for those personas. The more we have content online that you can use, but actually the more you align it to your industry and your roles, the more it's going to make sense. Thinking about what does success look like? One thing I do get concerned about is that people will say, oh, I'm using Copilot, it's great. And all they're doing is using it in Teams meetings. They're summarizing a Teams meeting, they're getting actions in Teams meeting. That's great. But Copilot is in Loop, it's in Whiteboard, it's in all the M365 apps. So, what does the art of the possible actually look like? And unless you show that to them, they may not understand what they could actually achieve. So have people maybe do some art of the possible sessions, and then get in front of any concerns people have got. Think about building up some FAQs of typically asked questions, making sure people know that this is Copilot, not autopilot. This is not taking over your job. This is your new best friend, personal assistant that's going to help you with your job, hopefully save you some time and create more quality content. Thinking about what will motivate them for change. Hearing from peers is a huge one. If a colleague of mine recommends something on one of the streaming services, I'm probably going to go and look at that more than I am if it pops up in an advert. So hearing from peers is really powerful. And then finally here, I just say, just make it really easy. Start off easy, start off with some easy prompts that you can share, and then build out more complicated stuff. Some ideas you might want to have a look at. Share your favorite 3 prompts in your next team meeting. Every time you go to team meeting, share what you've been using Copilot for. Gain commitment from your champions. Ask them to share their prompts. If you're using something like Prompt Buddy, which is an app where you can share, all your organization can share their prompts, then that's great. We all learn really well if we see what other prompts are out there that our colleagues are using. That's something that's definitely helped me. So I'm sure it helps lots of other people too. Share prompts that are going to be helpful for personal development. It's all about the, building desire is all about the what's in it for me. So if you give me a prompt that's going to help me with my next appraisal, or it's going to help me with some career coaching, or things that are HR related that might be relevant for me, I'm going to find that really useful. And then time savings. Everybody wants to save some time. What could I do if I have 3 hours back in my week? I could just create better content for Teams in 20 maybe. So share those time savings. And then knowledge, there are lots of information out there. There's lots of training out there. So you've got the Copilot trainer kit, you've got official M365 training. If you've got Viva Learning, there's actually Academy that you can link to and use that in your Viva Learning. And then you've got a tips and tricks page, which is a great place to start. If you've not got a lot of time, you just want to take in a couple of tips and tricks. There's also a really good YouTube site actually where it shows you this is my Copilot, and it's just really short videos of how people are using it. Giving colleagues the ability to make the change is obviously important. They've got all the knowledge, they've got all the skills now, but can they actually use it? So have you given everybody all the licenses and the equipment that they need? As I said before, do they know what success looks like? Do they know where to go for training? We don't want people just summarizing Teams meetings. It's so much more than that. And how can they feed back on that usage? And how can they hear from others? So if you've got a real good feedback channel, that's fantastic. And when do you go if something's wrong? The worst thing that could happen is somebody thinks that actually this is probably how it works, and they don't report it. And that means that either it doesn't get fixed or they're not learning. Maybe they're just not prompting right and they need extra support. So thinking about how you're going to support those. I also, I mentioned this as well, just keeping it easy for people. Give them 5 things to try in each of these different apps. I know we use Copilot in other apps now, but these are the ones that I use most regularly. So I've got a couple of tricks that I'm going to share with you in a minute, but keeping it easy, just sharing what prompts have worked in each of these different apps and maybe asking them to try that every day. Now, reinforcement is key. We'll get lots of people will go for training and there's just a lot of things going on. And then they when they actually do use Copilot and Excel, maybe they need to go back and just remind them what you said was useful about Copilot and Excel. So yeah, how do you sustain the change? Don't forget to celebrate success. Don't forget to reward people. Don't forget to give them that opportunity to feedback. Now, I mentioned Prompt Buddy before. This is what it looks like. It's a great app. There's a link on YouTube by the guy that created it to tell you how to put this into your, it's just a power app that you can put into your environment. And it gives everybody in the company the opportunity to share their prompts. And then you can go into this huge book of prompts and have a look at what everybody else has shared and give it a go yourself and also share yourself. If you want a personal way to save your prompts, you can use Copilot Lab. So you can go in there and save your own personal prompts. And then thinking about some ideas to just create that habit. We have this new 11-minute challenge. So if you can just use Copilot for 11 minutes a day, then you're going to start seeing Copilot become a habit. So if that 11 minutes is in the first few minutes of your day, you ask it to summarize your day, or in your next couple of meetings, you ask it to summarize your meetings, or you're creating a PowerPoint or searching for information, you get it. So I can easily do 11 minutes a day. I've probably done 11 minutes easy in the first couple of 2 hours of my working day, but I've had to build up that habit. So maybe there's a challenge that you could create internally. Something else that we also created was this Copilot passport theory. So, you get a stamp for every place that you've used Copilot until you've actually filled up your book. You've got to prove out that you've used that. Just a little bit of a visual bit of fun though as well. And then one thing I do with my colleagues, I've used Teams chat. So we've got a Teams chat, and I just schedule a chat, and that chat is a different prompt every day. So it looks like this. It'll let me schedule for the next 7 days. So I've gone through my little catalogue of prompts that I've favorited, and I add one in. So I've done a schedule of 7 days, and then I'll update that next week. So we've got a month of prompts every day. And that's really helping those colleagues that just haven't had time to get on board with this yet. Also, you've got the Copilot dashboard. Fantastic purpose-built tool designed to just help you understand where your Copilot has been adopted in your organization, where you can concentrate your efforts further. So this will be available to your admins. It's definitely worth having a look at if you haven't seen this before and you're in charge of adoption. Now, we have got a lot of different places to go and get more support. This slide is great. It's going to be in the deck, and I'll put some of these links into the description of the video as well. Lots of places to go for training, depending on where you are in your Copilot journey. Okay, so in summary, things that I think are really important: create awareness of the change, get people excited, start talking about AI in your organization, then share some scenarios, explain what's in it for them. What is in it for you as an adoption change manager in your role? What is in it for you in HR? Make sure they know how to get started and give them multiple options to learn. Some people need to learn by doing, some people need to learn by being in a classroom environment. Give them various options. Check they're equipped to actually consume the change. Have you switched on loop in your organization? Have you enabled whiteboard? What are the tools that we're saying go and use, but they haven't actually got access to? And then reinforce that change with regular feedback loops. Give them the option to ask lots of questions, but do make it really easy. Make sure your sponsors are engaged and promoting this and telling people how important it is to your organization. Measure and celebrate that success. And don't forget to check out the resources on the adoption site that just keep growing and growing and growing. And that is it for me today. I hope you found that helpful. Until the next time, thanks very much.